Daddy, you can't force me to do what I don't want to do. I'm an adult now. I have the right to make my own personal decisions of life.
Young lady, listen to me and listen to me very carefully. As long as you are still under my roof, you must obey me and do as I say. In a certain small town lived a very poor boy named Kenneth. Kenneth was raised up by a single mother named Ada, who had lost her husband a few years ago. Ever since her husband died, Kenneth stopped going to school so that he could help his mother in her tomatoes business so that they could be able to train his two younger sisters in school. This became a serious burden for Ada because she wanted all her children to be educated. One day, Ada took Kenneth to live with a very good friend of her husband that lived in the city while her husband was still alive. She explained her condition to him and how she wanted her son to be educated. She then proposed that her son should live with him and work for him so that he could sponsor his education. Chief Obi accepted the deal and promised to do this in order to honor her late husband. Kenneth became very sad as he hugged his mother in tears, and his mother whispered into his ears,
In any situation, always remember your family background and what brought you here. I know you will make me proud.
she said in tears as she left for the village. When Kenneth was taken to his room, he was so shocked on how big and beautiful it was, unlike the one he had in the village. Kenneth started working for Chief Obi in his shop and at home. He was known for his hard work, but Chief Obi refused to put him in school. Whenever Kenneth brought up the issue of his schooling, he would always wave it off with one excuse or the other. He didn't want to lose Kenneth because he was a big influence on the profit he made. One day, a very beautiful lady walked into the shop. Kenneth thought that it was as usual a customer and approached her, demanding to know what she wanted to buy, while advertising the products they had in stock. The lady just looked at him and asked if he was the new sales boy, and he replied her. She just took her bag and walked into the boss office. Kenneth was confused, and his fellow sales boys told him that she was Caro, the daughter of Chief Obi. They further warned him to be very careful on how he talked to Caroline, stating that her father didn't like her associating with his workers. When Kenneth got home that night, Kenneth took up the courage and decided to remind Chief Obi about his schooling. When he got into Chief Obi's room, he met Chief Obi discussing and having fun with his family. Kenneth excused himself and reminded Chief Obi about his request. Chief Obi just looked at him and sent him away, telling him never to raise that issue again. Kenneth left the room disappointed and in tears. Caroline pitied Kenneth and begged her father to send the boy to school, as he had earlier agreed with his mother. But Chief Obi told her that he was still working on it. She tried to pressure him. He then angrily sent her to bed, warning her never to raise up that matter again. The next day, when Caroline came to the shop, she saw Kenneth sitting down and looking very sad, and then she decided to approach him. She then engaged him in a very tight discussion. The other sales boys were very confused and they looked very surprised as they watched Kenneth and Caro laughed and chatted together. Chief Obi had earlier passed and saw them and became very uncomfortable. That night, Chief Obi invited Kenneth into his room and warned him never to go near his daughter again. I don't want to ever see you near or chatting with my daughter again, or that will be your last day in my house. My daughter is not meant to be associating with poor boys like you. Do I make myself clear? Kenneth responded and left. As the days went by, he started avoiding Caroline and stopped talking to her. When she asked what the problem was, he just told her what her father told him, and she became very angry and confronted her father, telling him that she had the right to make her own choices and personal decisions. I still remain my stand. I don't want to ever see you near that boy again. He is our houseboy and he is not meant for people like you. If I ever see you near that boy again, you will not like my reaction. Her father remained his stand that he didn't want to see her near the poor boy again. So she had no other choice than to start seeing Kenneth in secret places. She always enjoyed his company and wanted to stay around him more. One day, a very rich old man named Musa visited Chief Obi and stated his desire to marry Caroline. Chief Obi was very happy and he invited Caroline in, only to receive the biggest shock of his life when his daughter turned him down, saying that she could not marry someone that was old enough to be her father. Musa stood up and left the house in shame. Chief Obi was very angry and he took his daughter to his room and started shouting at her for missing such an opportunity.
Daddy, you can't force me to do what I don't want to do. I'm an adult now. I have the right to make my own personal decisions of life.
Young lady, listen to me and listen to me very carefully. As long as you are still under my roof, you must obey me and do as I say. But Caroline told her father that she already wanted to marry someone else. Chief Obi demanded to know who the rich guy was, but he ran mad with anger when his daughter mentioned the name of their poor houseboy. He wanted to send Kenneth away from his house immediately, but on a second thought, he knew that it was going to affect his business negatively. So he just told his daughter to get her passport ready, that he was sending her out of the country. His daughter tried to refuse, but he told her that she had no other choice. His intention was to separate Kenneth from his daughter. That night, when Caroline came to see Kenneth, she broke down in tears as she told him her father's decision. Kenneth became very sad and broke down in tears too. He couldn't believe that this was the same Chief Obi that was his father's best friend when he was alive. He kept on shedding tears as he remembered the good days when his father was still alive. Chief Obi's wife tried to beg her husband against sending their daughter abroad, but he refused, saying that his decision was final. On the day that Caroline was meant to travel, some policemen came into the compound with a report that Chief Obi was found to be dealing on hard drugs. He was also found to be engaging in other crime cases, and the police officers arrested him. Caroline could not believe her ears. She went and looked at her father, but he was too ashamed to look up. He just bowed his head in shame. The police officers took him away. Few months later, Kenneth eventually went back to school and came out as one of the best students in the institution. He started up his own organization, and before few months, it blew up. Customers began trooping in and out of his office. One day, Kenneth sat in his parlor and he decided that it was high time he took Caroline to see his mother in the village and finally take her as a wife. One sunny afternoon, Kenneth drove down to his village with Caroline. People were very shocked to see how Kenneth was now rich and the type of car he drove in. They could not believe that the boy that they thought would not amount to anything was now very successful. They kept on whispering and gossiping about his success. The news eventually spreaded like wildfire into other villages and other neighboring towns. When Kenneth got to his compound, his younger sister jumped up in excitement and ran to hug her brother. People kept on trooping into the compound to see whether what they heard was true, and they were truly amazed by what they saw. Kenneth broke down in tears when he was given the sad news by his younger sister that his mother was dead. He kept on crying and read the last letter that his mother dropped for him before she died, saying, "I know you will make me proud." Kenneth kept on crying in her grave, wishing that she was alive to see what he had become. Caroline kept on comforting him in tears. They eventually got married and they had 3 kids and had a blissful home. The end. This story teaches us never to give up on our dreams and goals in life, no matter how hard the challenge may be, because we have a bright future ahead of us. If you were Ken, what will you do when Chief Obi want him to stay away from his daughter? Drop your answer in the comment section below. I know you love this story. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. And don't forget to share to your friends. Bye. See you in our next story.